So you might think that happiness is having a motorcycle or having a house on top of the mountains. You might think it's having expensive, fancy clothes that you can impress people with, having tons of money. Success in America and the Western world has been painted in this way, that it's having luxury items, having a very nice big house, fancy clothes, certain looks, looking a certain way I should say, and having a certain amount of money, which usually means having a lot of money. But the fact of the matter is, none of that stuff objectively means happiness. They don't contain happiness. You don't buy a car and there's happiness inside. You don't walk into a fancy house and there's happiness inside of it. In fact, that's the secret right there. There's no such thing as happiness outside of you. Nothing outside externally contains happiness. All the happiness in the world dwells right inside of you, inside of your own mind. Now, if you're familiar with Buddhism or if you read self-development books of any types, you're probably familiar with this concept, but I want to break it down even more practically than that. You know, that's very poetically sounding, very esoteric sounding. But the fact of the matter is, it's actually very true when you look at it from this perspective, or from this definition, I'll say. What is happiness then? Here's what I know happiness is. Happiness is the overcoming of not unknown obstacles toward a known goal. But here's the thing, remember Chaco in the beginning of the video? You know, he was kind of a little restless. He wanted me to take him outside. Now he's a pretty happy pup. In fact, he's pretty much happy all of the time. But you can notice the change of when he's standing outside the door and then he finally gets to go outside. He becomes significantly happier. Why? Because he has a very simple, easy to achieve goal, which is, I want to be outside. That's not difficult for him to achieve at all because I take him for a walk. He knows he can go outside the dog door and he knows I'm gonna probably let the door open when he goes and scratches at it. Now here's why so many people, especially American Western people, are so unhappy. They give themselves incredibly difficult, overly ambitious goals to achieve in order to be happy. And when they inevitably fail at them, day in and day out, they're miserable. And secondly, for most people, these aren't even their true purposes or true goals in life. They're agreeing to what society has said is the only way to be cool, to be successful, and to be happy, although it's not what they truly want to do deep down. So, of course they're going to fail at it because they're really only trying to achieve these things unknowingly, unaware that they're just doing it to more or less fit in, to be accepted by society. If I do what society says I have to do in order to be successful, I'll be happy. But we've all seen it before. The rich guy with all the money and all the girls and all the things you could ever want, and they're miserable. In fact, sometimes they're even doing drugs because they're so unhappy. Why is that? Well, even though this person achieved this overly ambitious goal, it's not even what they truly wanted to do. They probably only did it on some level to fit in to society's norms, to be accepted as successful by society. Now, I'm not telling you to not have these goals, to not have the goal of making tons of money and having a nice house or, getting into really good shape or something along those lines. But what I am saying is that if you're only doing these things to have something else, so for example, if you're only trying to achieve a lot of money so that way people will like you, or that way you can buy your friendship or your love or your admiration, you're gonna be unhappy. Now let me define what I mean by an ambitious goal. People in America, they're all about ambition. You're not ambitious enough. Be more ambitious. But I would argue to achieve the opposite. You see, ambition is when your expectations or your desires exceed your competence. Prime example of an ambitious goal. You have no money currently, but you need to make $1 million. That is a prime example of an ambitious goal that you're going to struggle to achieve because of the large gradient going from 0 to 1 million is going to be very, very difficult. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible, but what I'm saying is that you're going to have a difficult time and you're probably going to be unhappy. So now with all this in mind, I want to share with you 2 simple secrets to becoming an incredibly happy person. Before I do that, I want to share with you a little story or a joke my mentor told me about happiness and ambition. So there's this king, and obviously this king is the richest, wealthiest, and most popular man in all of the land. However, his daughter is sick. So naturally, the king sends out a notice or message to the village to find the most competent and incredible doctor in all of the land. In no time at all, of course, the doctor shows up, and he sees the king and evaluates the princess. And he says to the king, "Your daughter can be healed. but you must bring me the shirt of the happiest man in the world. So of course, to save his daughter, the king sends out another message to the town to find the happiest man and bring him his shirt. Now the king sends off his knights as well to retrieve the shirt off the back of the happiest man that they can find. And after some time, they find him. And they inform the king that they found the happiest man in all of the land. And the king goes, well, what are you waiting for? Bring me this man. And they go, well, king, there's one problem. He goes, problem? What problem could there be? And the knights inform the king, well, the happiest man, he has no shirt. Now, I'm not sure what happened to the princess, if she survived or whatnot, but the moral of the story is that happiness is not dependent upon material objects, even a shirt, if you're in the right weather, of course. You don't need things to be happy. In fact, that's the lie. And this is something that we see all the time. How many times, if you look at your own life, have you had less than what you have now? And you say, if I only had this, if I only got a raise, if I only got that new car, if I only had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, if I only made more money, and you get all of it, yet you're still unhappy. Now, some people actually even realize this, and they sort of denounce all possessions. They no longer try to achieve any goals, but there's a major problem here. Doing away with all physical things and trying to achieve anything is going to lead to new issues. Somewhere along the line, you're gonna run into a new problem. So just renouncing all physical possessions is not going to do the job either. There's a secret. If we go back to the definition of happiness, it is the overcoming of obstacles towards your goals. So right there in that definition of happiness, we find the secrets to achieving happiness, permanent happiness as well. First and foremost, you can be happy without reason. You see, happiness is subjective. It's unique to everybody. Some person says, I need this to be happy. Others say, I need that. Some people say, I need nothing to be happy, right? But nevertheless, there's still a goal that you're trying to achieve in order to be happy. So the first part of the secret to being happy is to be aware of your own goals. What have you decided you need to do and have to be happy? Once you've realized those things and you've become aware of the things that you've decided in your own mind you need to be happy, the second part is to change these things and to make them easily achievable goals. In the ambitious West, we are told, no, set incredibly ambitious goals, set bigger goals. The bigger your goal is, the better, because then it's going to be easier because you're the only one doing it. I would say that that's actually going to be counterproductive. And what would be more helpful is that you don't set bigger, more ambitious goals to make yourself unique. Just set very easily achieved goals. So again, looking at Chaco, what was his goal today? Open the door. All right, the door got opened, I win. Happy. The day is complete. I achieved my goal. For me, sometimes it's just going for a walk. It's drinking a cup of coffee. It's talking to one of my friends that day. All of which are super easy to achieve things that I know I can achieve every single day. And if I ever find myself becoming unhappy, I just start to ask myself, what is it that I think that I need right now to be happy? Oh, I'm not gonna be happy until I have 30 acres of my own. Or I need to be hanging out with my friends right now, although I know that I can't because I'm across the country. And once I realize and become aware the difficult goal that I've given myself that day that's making me unhappy, I just change it, because that's the secret to happiness. Nobody is deciding for you what you need to do or have to be happy. You are deciding it for yourself, which means that you can either change it to something that's easily achieved, something very, very simple, or you can get rid of it altogether and decide to be happy for no reason. You don't need a reason to be happy. That is the real secret. That is why you see kids who live in third world countries happier than most celebrities, because they don't give themselves these ambitious considerations and complex ideas about what you need in order to be happy. So there's the secret to happiness. Again, happiness is the overcoming of not unknown obstacles towards a known goal, meaning that you become happy when you achieve all your goals along the way to your big goal. So I would recommend that you give yourself super easy to achieve goals, things that are so easy to do that you can do every day, like walk your dog or drink a cup of coffee, something so simple that you know you can always do without fail. And some days, just decide to be happy for no reason. That brings this video to a close. I'm happy today because I decided all I really need to do is create this one video, which was really easy for me to do. If you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new here, and I'll see you next time.